Marcus Johnson walked down the hallway of Riverside High School with his eyes on the floor. He was 16 years old, tall and thin, with dark skin and a face that rarely showed emotion. Most days he wore the same 3 shirts and 2 pairs of jeans. His sneakers had holes in them, but he kept them clean. The other students saw Marcus as strange. He never talked unless a teacher called on him. During lunch, he sat alone in the corner of the cafeteria, reading books about boxing and martial arts. No one knew that Marcus had a secret life outside of school. Every day after the final bell rang, Marcus walked 2 miles to his Uncle Ray's gym. Uncle Ray was Marcus's only family after his parents died in a car crash when he was 8 years old. The gym was small and old, with peeling paint and equipment that had seen better days. But to Marcus it was home. "You're late," Uncle Ray said as Marcus pushed open the heavy door. Uncle Ray was a big man with strong arms and a kind face. He had been a boxing champion many years ago. "Sorry, Uncle Ray. Mr. Peterson kept us late to finish a test," Marcus answered, dropping his backpack on a bench. He quickly changed into his workout clothes and wrapped his hands with the skill of someone who had done it thousands of times. 20 minutes on the speed bag, then 50 push-ups, Uncle Ray instructed. "After that, we'll work on your footwork." Marcus nodded and got to work. His hands moved so fast they became a blur. The sound of the speed bag hitting the board was like music to him. This was where Marcus felt free. This was where he could forget about being the quiet kid that nobody noticed or understood. What nobody at school knew was that Marcus had been training with Uncle Ray since he was 9 years old. For 7 years, 6 days a week, he had learned boxing, kickboxing, and mixed martial arts. Uncle Ray had taught him everything he knew, and Marcus was a natural. He had even won several junior competitions in neighboring towns where no one from his school would see him. "You're getting faster," Uncle Ray said, watching Marcus with pride. "But remember what I always tell you. Fighting is the last option, never the first," Marcus recited. It was Uncle Ray's most important rule. "That's right," Uncle Ray nodded. "Your skills are not for showing off or hurting others. They are for protection and discipline." Marcus understood this well. He had never used his fighting skills at school, even when he wanted to. There had been plenty of times when he could have. At Riverside High, a group of boys led by Derek Thompson ruled the hallways. Derek was a senior, the star football player with rich parents who gave him everything he wanted. He and his 4 friends enjoyed making life difficult for other students, especially those who couldn't or wouldn't fight back. Earlier that day, Derek had noticed Marcus sitting alone at lunch. "Look at the weirdo," Derek said to his friends, pointing at Marcus. "I don't think I've ever heard him speak. Maybe he's too stupid to know how." His friends laughed loudly, making sure Marcus could hear them. Marcus kept his eyes on his book, pretending not to notice. This only made Derek more interested in bothering him. "Hey, you," Derek called out. When Marcus didn't respond, Derek walked over and stood in front of his table. "I'm talking to you, bookworm." Marcus slowly looked up from his book. His face remained calm, but inside, his heart was beating faster. "What are you reading that's so interesting?" Derek grabbed the book from Marcus's hands. "The History of Boxing Champions? What a joke. You think you're a fighter?" He laughed and tossed the book on the floor. Marcus looked at his book on the dirty cafeteria floor. He thought about all the ways he could take Derek down in less than 5 seconds. He thought about how surprised Derek would be. But then he remembered Uncle Ray's words. Fighting is the last option, never the first. Marcus stood up, picked up his book, and sat back down without saying a word. "What's wrong with you? Are you deaf?" Derek pushed Marcus's shoulder. "Say something." The cafeteria had gone quiet. Everyone was watching now, waiting to see what would happen. Teachers rarely came to this part of the cafeteria during lunch, so Derek knew he could get away with almost anything. "Leave him alone, Derek," a girl's voice called out. It was Sophia Chen, one of the few students who was never afraid to stand up to Derek. She was small but fierce, with long black hair and sharp eyes. Derek turned to look at her. "Mind your own business, Sophia. I'm just trying to have a conversation with my quiet friend here." "Doesn't look like he wants to talk to you," Sophia said, crossing her arms. Derek's face turned red. He didn't like being challenged, especially in front of his friends. He turned back to Marcus. "This isn't over, weirdo," he hissed. Then he walked away with his friends, already planning how to make Marcus's life miserable. Sophia approached Marcus's table. "You okay?" she asked. Marcus nodded. "Thanks," he said quietly. "You should report him," Sophia suggested. "Derek's been getting worse lately." Marcus shook his head. "It's fine. I don't want trouble." Sophia looked at him curiously. There was something different about this quiet boy. Most people who became Derek's targets either fought back and lost, or ran away scared. Marcus did neither. He seemed unbothered, almost as if Derek wasn't worth his time. "I'm Sophia," she said, sitting down across from him. "Marcus," he replied. "You're in my biology class, right?" she asked. "I've seen you take notes. You're really good at drawing the diagrams." Marcus looked surprised that she had noticed him. "I like biology," he said simply. The bell rang, signaling the end of lunch. As Marcus gathered his things, Sophia said, "Be careful with Derek. He doesn't give up easily." Marcus nodded. "I'll be fine," he said, and he meant it. After school, as Marcus trained at the gym, he thought about Derek. He had dealt with bullies before, but something told him Derek would be different. More persistent, more dangerous. "You're distracted today," Uncle Ray noticed, as they sparred in the ring. "What's on your mind?" Marcus hesitated. "There's this guy at school. He's been bothering me." Uncle Ray's face grew serious. "Is he threatening you?" "Not exactly," Marcus said. "Just the usual stuff. Calling me names, pushing me around a little." "And what are you going to do about it?" Uncle Ray asked. Marcus thought for a moment. "Nothing. As long as he just talks, I'll ignore him." Uncle Ray nodded approvingly. "Good. But remember, Marcus, there's a difference between avoiding a fight and letting someone hurt you. You have the right to defend yourself if you're truly in danger." "I know," Marcus said. "But I'm not worried about him hurting me. I'm worried about what I might do to him." Uncle Ray put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. "I've trained you to control your power, not just to use it. I trust you to make the right decision when the time comes." Marcus hoped that time would never come. But deep down, he knew Derek wouldn't stop at just words. Sooner or later, he would have to make a choice. And, when that day came, everyone at Riverside High would see a side of Marcus Johnson they never knew existed. The next day at school, Marcus felt eyes on him everywhere he went. News about his encounter with Derek had spread quickly. Some students looked at him with pity, thinking he would be Derek's next victim. Others seemed curious, wondering how the quietest boy in school would handle the biggest bully. Marcus tried to go about his day normally. In math class, he focused on the equations on the board. In history, he took careful notes about World War II, but he could feel the tension building around him. Derek and his friends watched him from across the cafeteria during lunch, whispering and laughing. Sophia sat down at Marcus's table without asking. "They're planning something," she said, nodding toward Derek's group. Marcus looked up from his lunch. "How do you know?" "Everyone knows," Sophia replied. "Derek has been telling people he's going to teach you a lesson after school." She looked worried. "Maybe you should leave early today." Marcus shook his head. "I can't run away from him." "It's not running away," Sophia argued. "It's being smart. Derek has 4 friends who always back him up. 5 against 1 isn't a fair fight." Marcus almost smiled at that. Numbers didn't matter much to him, but Sophia didn't know that. "Thanks for the warning," he said. "But I'll be okay." Sophia studied his face. "You're different," she said finally. "Most people are scared of Derek." "I'm not most people," Marcus answered simply. After lunch, Marcus stopped at his locker to get his science textbook. As he closed the locker door, he found Derek standing there with 2 of his friends, Mike and Jason. "Well, if it isn't the quiet man," Derek said, leaning against the lockers. "You know it's rude not to talk when someone's talking to you." Marcus looked at Derek calmly. I have class now. He tried to walk away, but Mike stepped in front of him, blocking his path. Derek's not finished talking to you, Mike said. Students in the hallway stopped to watch. Some looked nervous, others excited by the drama. I heard you like to read books about fighting, Derek continued. You think you're tough or something? Marcus stayed silent. I asked you a question, Derek said, his voice getting louder. He pushed Marcus's shoulder, hard enough to make him step back. Marcus took a deep breath. Please move, he said quietly. Derek laughed. Or what? What are you going to do about it, bookworm? Marcus looked Derek directly in the eyes. Something in Marcus's steady gaze made Derek hesitate for a second. There was no fear there, no nervousness, just calm certainty. Is there a problem here? Mr. Peterson, the math teacher, called from down the hall. He was walking toward them with a stern look on his face. Derek stepped back immediately, his friendly smile returning. No problem, Mr. Peterson, just talking with my friend Marcus here. Well, do your talking after school. Get to class, all of you, Mr. Peterson ordered. As the group broke up, Derek whispered to Marcus, behind the gym, after school. Be there, or I'll find you tomorrow, and it'll be worse. Marcus watched them walk away. He knew he should tell a teacher about the threat, but he also knew that would only make things worse in the long run. Derek would be suspended for a few days, then come back even angrier. The rest of the day passed too quickly. Soon the final bell rang, and students rushed out of the building, eager to start their weekend. Marcus walked slowly to his locker, thinking about what he should do. Sophia appeared beside him. You're not really going to meet them, are you? I don't have much choice, Marcus said, putting his books in his backpack. Of course you have a choice. Tell Principal Wilson. She's still in her office. Marcus zipped up his backpack. That won't solve anything. Then let me come with you, Sophia insisted. I can get help if things get bad. Marcus looked at her, surprised by her offer. Why do you care what happens to me? You barely know me. Sophia shrugged. I hate bullies, and I don't know. You seem like a good person. For the first time since she'd met him. Marcus smiled. It was a small smile, but it changed his whole face. Thanks, but this is something I need to handle alone. At least let me walk with you to the gym, Sophia said, not giving up. Marcus knew she wouldn't change her mind, so he nodded. They walked together through the nearly empty school. When they reached the doors leading to the back of the gym, Marcus stopped. You should go home now, he told Sophia. I'll wait by the front of the school, she said. If you're not there in 15 minutes, I'm getting help. Marcus nodded again, though he knew the situation would be resolved much sooner than 15 minutes. He pushed open the door and stepped outside. Derek and his 4 friends were waiting in a semicircle. They had changed into their gym clothes, as if preparing for a workout or a fight. Look who showed up, Derek said, cracking his knuckles. I'm surprised. I thought you'd run home to Mommy. Marcus set down his backpack against the wall. He said, Nothing. What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? Jason taunted. Maybe he's praying, Mike suggested, and the group laughed. Marcus stood still, his hands at his sides. Uncle Ray had taught him to stay relaxed before a fight, to save his energy until it was needed. Here's what's going to happen, Derek said, stepping forward. You're going to get on your knees and apologize for disrespecting me yesterday. Then you're going to give me your lunch money for the rest of the year. Marcus looked at each of the 5 boys surrounding him. They were bigger than him, except for Jason, who was shorter but stocky. They were strong from playing football, but they were untrained. They relied on size and numbers to intimidate others. I don't want to fight you, Marcus said clearly. The boys laughed. Who said anything about a fight? Derek replied. This is going to be a beating. Derek nodded to Mike and Tyler, who moved to grab Marcus's arms. They were fast, but Marcus was faster. He stepped back smoothly, causing them to stumble past him. Hold still, Mike growled, lunging for Marcus again. Marcus sidestepped him easily. He could have counterattacked, could have ended the confrontation with one well-placed strike. But Uncle Ray's voice echoed in his mind. Fighting is the last option, never the first. Stop dancing around and fight, Derek shouted, his face red with anger. I told you I don't want to fight, Marcus repeated calmly. You don't have a choice, Derek said. He signaled to his friends and all 5 of them charged at Marcus at once. What happened next seemed impossible to anyone who might have been watching. Marcus moved like water flowing between the boys, avoiding their wild punches and desperate grabs. He didn't throw a single punch. He didn't need to. The boys, confused by his speed and agility, began colliding with each other in their attempts to catch him. Mike and Jason crashed into each other head first, both falling to the ground holding their foreheads. Tyler tripped over them and fell hard on his elbow, crying out in pain. The 4th boy, Chris, swung wildly at where Marcus had been a second before, lost his balance, and tumbled to the ground. Only Derek remained standing, breathing hard, staring at Marcus in disbelief. Marcus stood calmly, not even out of breath. What are you? Derek asked, his voice shaking slightly. Before Marcus could answer, the door burst open. Mr. Peterson stood there, with Sophia right behind him. What is going on here? Mr. Peterson demanded, looking at the boys on the ground. Derek quickly found his voice. Marcus attacked us, sir. We were just talking and he went crazy. Mr. Peterson looked skeptical. 5 against 1, and you're the only ones on the ground? He turned to Marcus. Is this true, Mr. Johnson? Did you attack these boys? Marcus looked at Derek, then at Mr. Peterson. No, sir. They attacked me. I defended myself. He's lying, Derek shouted. Actually, Sophia said, stepping forward. I recorded everything on my phone. She held up her smartphone. I can show you exactly what happened. Mr. Peterson watched the video on Sophia's phone with a serious face. The footage clearly showed Derek and his friends attacking Marcus, while Marcus simply dodged their attempts without throwing a single punch. All of you, to Principal Wilson's office now, Mr. Peterson said firmly. Derek and his friends got up from the ground looking embarrassed and angry. They glared at Marcus as they walked back into the school building. You too, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Peterson added, and you, Ms. Chen. In Principal Wilson's office, the 7 students sat in a row of chairs while Mr. Peterson explained what had happened. Principal Wilson was a tall woman with short gray hair and glasses. She listened carefully, then asked to see Sophia's video. After watching it, she looked at each student one by one. Fighting on school grounds is strictly against the rules, she said. Derek, Mike, Jason, Tyler, and Chris. You 5 will be suspended for 1 week, and you'll have detention for 2 weeks after that. But that's not fair, Derek protested. We didn't even touch him. Not for lack of trying, Principal Wilson said sharply. The video clearly shows you planned this attack and attempted to hurt Mr. Johnson. She turned to Marcus. Mr. Johnson, while you didn't throw any punches, you did agree to meet them behind the gym knowing there would be a confrontation. You should have reported the threat to a teacher or to me. Marcus nodded. Yes, ma'am. You'll have detention. For 3 days, Principal Wilson decided. And Ms. Chen, while I appreciate you getting a teacher, you should have done so immediately, not waited to record the incident. You'll have 1 day of detention. Sophia opened her mouth to argue, but then closed it again. I've called all your parents, Principal Wilson continued. They're on their way to pick you up. Wait outside my office. The students filed out into the waiting area. Derek and his friends sat on one side of the room, while Marcus and Sophia sat on the other. No one spoke. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. After a few minutes, Derek broke the silence. This isn't over, he whispered to Marcus. Not by a long shot. Sophia rolled her eyes. Give it up, Derek. Everyone's going to see that video by Monday. Your tough guy reputation is over. Derek's face turned red with anger. You shut your mouth. No one asked you. The secretary at the front desk looked up sharply. That's enough. Sit quietly or I'll call Principal Wilson back. One by one, parents arrived to pick up their children. Derek's father came first, a big man in an expensive suit who looked angry at being called away from work. He didn't say a word to Derek, just marched him out the door with a firm grip on his shoulder. The other boys' parents came next, each looking disappointed or angry. Then Sophia's mother arrived, a small woman who looked exactly like an older version of Sophia. "I'll see you Monday," Sophia said to Marcus before leaving. "Good luck." Marcus sat alone, wondering who would come for him. Uncle Ray didn't have a car and would have to take 2 buses to reach the school. It could be hours before he arrived. To his surprise, just 15 minutes later, Uncle Ray walked through the door. He was wearing his gym clothes and was slightly out of breath, as if he had run part of the way. "Marcus," he said, his deep voice filling the small waiting room. "Are you okay?" Marcus stood up. "I'm fine, Uncle Ray." Principal Wilson came out of her office. "Mr. Johnson, I'm Principal Wilson. Thank you for coming so quickly." Uncle Ray shook her hand. "What happened? Your secretary just said there was a fight." "Let's talk in my office," Principal Wilson suggested. Inside her office, Principal Wilson explained the situation and showed Uncle Ray the video from Sophia's phone. Uncle Ray watched it with a serious expression, occasionally glancing at Marcus. When the video ended, Uncle Ray took a deep breath. "I see. Marcus, did you throw any punches at all?" "No, sir," Marcus answered. "But you could have," Uncle Ray said. "It wasn't a question." "Yes, sir." Uncle Ray turned to Principal Wilson. "My nephew has been trained in mixed martial arts since he was 9 years old. He competes at the regional level. If he had wanted to hurt those boys, they would be in the hospital right now." He looked at Marcus with pride. "The fact that he only defended himself shows great restraint and discipline." Principal Wilson looked surprised. She studied Marcus with new interest. "I had no idea. Still, he should have reported the threat instead of meeting them behind the gym." "You're right," Uncle Ray agreed. "And he will serve his detention, won't you, Marcus?" "Yes, sir," Marcus said again. On the way home, Uncle Ray was quiet for a while. Then he said, "You did well today, Marcus. You remembered your training. Fighting is the last option, never the first." "They weren't very skilled," Marcus said. "It was easy to avoid them." Uncle Ray nodded. "Today was easy. But I'm worried about what comes next. That boy Derek, he seems like the type who won't let this go." "What should I do if he comes after me again?" Marcus asked. "Keep doing what you're doing. Avoid the fight if you can, but—" Uncle Ray hesitated. "If you can't avoid it, if he really puts you or someone else in danger, then you do what you need to do. Just remember to use only the force that's necessary. No more." When they got home to their small apartment, Uncle Ray made Marcus's favorite dinner: spaghetti with meatballs. As they ate, Uncle Ray asked, "Who was that girl in the video? The one who recorded everything?" "Sophia," Marcus said. "She's in my biology class." "She seems brave," Uncle Ray commented. "Standing up to 5. Boys like that." Marcus nodded. "She is. You should bring her to the gym sometime," Uncle Ray suggested with a small smile. "I could teach her a few moves." Marcus almost choked on his spaghetti. "Uncle Ray!" Uncle Ray laughed. "What? It's just an idea." The weekend passed quietly. Marcus trained at the gym on Saturday as usual. Some of the other fighters had heard about what happened at school and asked him about it. Marcus kept his answers short, not wanting to make a big deal out of it. On Sunday, Marcus stayed home to finish his homework and help Uncle Ray fix a leaky pipe in the bathroom. It was a normal, peaceful weekend, but Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that Monday would bring new troubles. He was right. When Marcus arrived at school on Monday morning, he immediately noticed that something was different. Students were looking at him in the hallway, not with pity like before, but with a mixture of curiosity and respect. Some even nodded to him as he passed. At his locker, Sophia was waiting for him. "You're famous," she said with a grin. "What do you mean?" Marcus asked, opening his locker. "My video," Sophia explained. "I posted it online and it went viral over the weekend. Everyone has seen it. Some of the comments are calling you the Dodger because of how you avoided all those punches." Marcus frowned. "You posted it online? Why would you do that?" "To protect you," Sophia said, her smile fading. I thought if everyone saw what really happened, Derek and his friends wouldn't be able to lie about it. I don't want attention, Marcus said quietly. I just want to be left alone. Before Sophia could respond, a group of students approached them. They were seniors Marcus recognized from the basketball team. Hey, you're Marcus, right? One of them asked. That was some impressive stuff in that video. Where did you learn to move like that? My uncle taught me, Marcus said uncomfortably. You should try out for the basketball team, another boy suggested. With reflexes like yours, you'd be amazing. No thanks, Marcus said. I'm not interested in team sports. The boys looked disappointed but nodded and walked away. Throughout the morning, more students approached Marcus, asking questions about his training or simply wanting to introduce themselves. By lunchtime, Marcus was exhausted from all the attention. He sat at his usual table in the corner, hoping to read his book in peace. But within minutes, Sophia joined him along with two other students Marcus didn't know well. This is Jamal and Emma, Sophia introduced them. They wanted to meet you. Marcus nodded politely but didn't say much as the three of them talked. He kept looking around the cafeteria, expecting to see Derek and his friends. But they weren't. They're suspended, remember? Sophia said, noticing his distraction. They won't be back until next Monday. When they do come back, they'll be looking for revenge, Jamal warned. Guys like that can't stand being embarrassed. Marcus knew. Jamal was right. The video had not only shown Derek failing to beat up Marcus, but it had also made him look foolish. For someone like Derek, whose whole identity was built on being tough and feared, that was unforgivable. What will you do when they come back? Emma asked Marcus. Marcus closed his book. The same thing I always do. Try to avoid trouble. But if you can't avoid it? Sophia asked. Marcus looked at her. Then I'll deal with it. The way he said it, calm and confident, made the three of them stare at him with new respect. In that moment, they began to understand that there was much more to the quiet boy than they had ever imagined. The next week passed quickly for Marcus. He served his 3 days of detention, sitting quietly in a classroom after school, doing his homework. Sophia was there the first day, and she kept trying to talk to him when the teacher wasn't looking. Marcus answered her questions politely but didn't say much. At Uncle Ray's gym, things were different too. Word had spread about the video, and now the other fighters treated Marcus with new respect. Some of the younger boys even asked him to show them how he had dodged those punches so easily. Your footwork is getting better, Uncle Ray told him, during their Saturday training session. But your mind seems somewhere else. What's bothering you? Marcus wiped sweat from his forehead with a towel. Those boys will be back at school on Monday. Uncle Ray nodded. And you're worried about what will happen? Not worried, Marcus corrected. Just preparing. Remember what I taught you, Uncle Ray said. The best fighter is the one who never has to fight, Marcus finished. I know, Uncle Ray. Uncle Ray put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. But sometimes the fight comes to you whether you want it or not. And when that happens, you need to be ready. On Monday morning, Marcus walked to school with a strange feeling in his stomach. It wasn't fear exactly, more like awareness, like animals in the wild must feel when they sense a predator nearby. Sophia was waiting for him at the front entrance. They're back, she said without saying hello. Derek and his friends. And they look angry. I expected that, Marcus said calmly. You should stay near teachers all day, Sophia suggested as they walked inside. Or stay with me and my friends. There's safety in numbers. Marcus shook his head. I can't hide forever, and I can't ask other people to protect me. But Sophia started to argue. It's okay, Marcus interrupted. I'll be fine. The morning passed without incident. Marcus saw Derek in the hallway between classes, but Derek just glared at him and kept walking. During lunch, Derek and his friends sat at their usual table, talking quietly among themselves and occasionally looking at Marcus. They're planning something, Jamal said, sitting down next to Marcus. In the past week, Jamal had appointed himself as Marcus's friend, even though Marcus hadn't asked for one. Probably, Marcus agreed, eating his sandwich. Aren't you worried? Emma asked, joining them at the table. Marcus shrugged. Worrying doesn't help. The bell rang, ending lunch. As Marcus gathered his things, he noticed Derek whispering to his friends and pointing at him. Whatever they were planning, it would happen soon. In gym class that afternoon, Coach Bennett announced they would be playing basketball. He divided the students into 4 teams. Marcus found himself on a team with Jamal and 3 other boys he didn't know well. Derek was on a different team along with his friend Mike. Blue team versus red team first, Coach Bennett called out. Marcus's team was blue. Derek's team was red. As they took their positions on the court, Derek smirked at Marcus. Ready to get crushed, Johnson? Marcus said nothing, focusing on the game. Coach Bennett blew his whistle and the game began. Right away, Derek and Mike started playing roughly, pushing and elbowing anyone who got in their way. When Marcus got the ball, Derek charged at him like a bull, trying to knock him down. But just like in the fight behind the gym, Marcus moved with surprising speed and grace. He sidestepped Derek easily, causing him to stumble past. Then Marcus passed the ball to Jamal, who scored. Nice move, Jamal called out. As the game continued, Derek became more and more frustrated. Every time he tried to hit or push Marcus, he ended up missing completely. The other students started to laugh, which only made Derek angrier. Stand still, you coward, Derek shouted after missing Marcus for the 5th time. Coach Bennett blew his whistle. Thompson, watch your language, one more outburst and you're sitting out. Derek glared at the coach but said nothing more. By the end of the game, Blue team had won by 15 points. Marcus had scored more than anyone else, despite Derek's attempts to stop him. As they walked back to the locker room, Derek bumped into Marcus hard. This isn't basketball, he hissed. Meet me at Creek Park after school, unless you're scared. I'm not scared, Marcus replied quietly, but I'm not fighting you, Derek. Then I'll come find you, Derek threatened. Maybe at your house. I know where you live. For the first time, Marcus felt a flash of real anger. Threatening to come to his home where Uncle Ray lived crossed a line. Don't do that, Marcus warned, his voice lower than usual. Something in his tone made Derek step back slightly, but he quickly recovered. After school, Creek Park, be there. Then he walked away. After school, Sophia, Jamal, and Emma were waiting for Marcus at his locker. We heard what Derek said in gym class, Sophia told him. You're not really going to meet him, are you? I have to, Marcus said, putting his books in his backpack. He threatened to come to my home. Then we're coming with you, Jamal declared. Marcus looked at his 3 friends, surprised by their loyalty. This isn't your fight. Friends stick together, Emma said simply. Marcus had never had friends before. The feeling was new and strange, but not unpleasant. Okay, he agreed, but stay back. I don't want any of you getting hurt. Creek Park was only a few blocks from the school. It was a small park with a playground, a basketball court, and a creek running through it. When Marcus and his friends arrived, Derek was already there with his 4 friends plus 3 other boys Marcus didn't recognize. You brought an audience, Derek called out when he saw them. Good. More people to see you get beaten. Marcus stepped forward, leaving his friends behind as he had asked. I don't want to fight you, Derek. Too bad, Derek sneered. Because I want to fight you. Why? Marcus asked. What do you get out of it? The question seemed to confuse Derek. What? Why do you want to fight me? Marcus repeated. What's the point? Because you made me look bad, Derek sputtered. You in that video. You made yourself look bad, Marcus said calmly. You attacked me, and I defended myself. That's all that happened. Derek's face turned red. Shut up and fight me. No, Marcus said firmly. I won't fight you just because you're angry and embarrassed. Derek looked at his friends, then back at Marcus. If you won't fight me, then I'll make you fight me. He nodded to his friends who started to spread out, surrounding Marcus. Marcus sighed. He had hoped it wouldn't come to this, but he wasn't surprised. Last chance, Derek, walk away now. Derek laughed. Or what? Or you'll get hurt, Marcus said simply. Get him, Derek shouted. All 8 boys rushed at Marcus at once. What happened next was so fast that the watching students could barely follow it. Marcus moved like lightning, no longer just dodging but striking back with precise, controlled movements. One by one, the boys fell. A quick strike to the stomach here. A sweep of the legs there. Marcus wasn't trying to hurt them badly, just enough to stop them. His hands and feet seemed to be everywhere at once, blocking punches and delivering his own. Within 30 seconds, 7 of the 8 boys were on the ground, groaning and holding various parts of their bodies. Only Derek remained standing, his eyes wide with shock. What are you?" he gasped. "I told you," Marcus said, not even breathing hard. "I don't want to fight." Derek looked around at his fallen friends, then back at Marcus. Something changed in his expression. The anger was replaced by fear. He turned and ran, leaving his friends behind. Marcus watched him go, then turned to check on the other boys. None of them seemed seriously hurt, just bruised and shocked. Sophia, Jamal, and Emma stood at the edge of the park, their mouths open in amazement. That was... Jamal couldn't find the words. "Incredible," Emma finished for him. Sophia just stared at Marcus as if seeing him for the first time. Marcus walked back to his friends, feeling uncomfortable with their awe. "We should go," he said, "before someone calls the police." As they walked away from the park, Sophia finally found her voice. "Where did you learn to fight like that?" "My uncle's gym," Marcus answered. "I've been training since I was 9. "You're not just trained," Jamal said. "You're like professional level or something." Marcus shrugged. "I compete sometimes, regional tournaments." "Do you ever lose?" Emma asked. Marcus thought about it. "Not recently." They walked in silence for a while. Then Sophia asked, "What will happen now? With Derek, I mean." "I don't know," Marcus admitted. "Maybe he'll leave me alone now." But deep down, Marcus wasn't sure. Derek had run away today, but his pride was hurt even worse than before. And wounded pride could be dangerous. The next day at school, everyone was talking about what had happened at Creek Park. The story had spread quickly, growing more amazing with each telling. By lunchtime, some students were saying that Marcus had beaten up 20 boys without breaking a sweat. Marcus tried to ignore the whispers and stares as he walked through the hallways. He didn't like being the center of attention. All he had ever wanted was to be left alone with his books and his training. "There he is," a younger student whispered loudly as Marcus passed. "That's him, the fighter." At lunch, Marcus sat at his usual table, hoping for some peace. But within minutes, Sophia, Jamal, and Emma joined him, followed by several other students he barely knew. "Is it true you're a black belt in karate?" one boy asked eagerly. "No," Marcus answered, opening his book. "I train in mixed martial arts. It's different." "Have you ever been in a real competition?" another student asked. Marcus sighed and closed his book, realizing he wouldn't get to read today. "Yes. Regional tournaments, nothing big." "How many have you won?" The questions kept coming. 7, Marcus said quietly. "But it's not important." "Not important?" Jamal exclaimed. "Man, you're like a secret superhero or something." Marcus shook his head. "I'm just a regular person who happens to know how to fight. That's all." The others looked disappointed by his modesty, but Marcus didn't care. He hadn't trained all these years to impress people or to become popular. He had trained because Uncle Ray believed it would give him discipline and confidence, things he needed after losing his parents. Across the cafeteria, Derek sat alone. His friends were at a different table, still nursing their bruises and wounded pride from yesterday. Derek didn't eat his lunch. He just stared at Marcus with cold, angry eyes. Sophia noticed Derek watching them. "He still looks mad," she whispered to Marcus. "Do you think he'll try something else?" "I don't know," Marcus replied honestly. "I hope not." After school, Marcus went to his locker to get his books. The hallway was nearly empty, most students having already left for the day. As he closed his locker, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned to see Derek standing there alone. Marcus tensed, ready to defend himself if needed. But Derek didn't look ready to fight. He looked different somehow. His usual confidence was gone. "We need to talk," Derek said, his voice quiet. "About what?" Marcus asked cautiously. Derek looked around to make sure no one was listening. "Not here, outside." Marcus followed Derek outside to the empty football field. They sat on the bleachers, several feet apart. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally, Derek broke the silence. "How long have you been fighting?" "Since I was 9, Marcus answered. "Why didn't you fight back before when I pushed you in the cafeteria that first day?" Marcus thought about it. "Because it wasn't necessary. My uncle taught me that fighting is the last option, never the first." Derek nodded slowly. "My dad says fighting is what makes you a man. He says you have to be tough, or people will walk all over you." For the first time, Marcus saw something in Derek he hadn't seen before: vulnerability. "There's a difference between being tough and being a bully," he said. Derek looked away. "Yeah, well, not everyone sees it that way." Another silence fell between them. A cool breeze blew across the empty field, rustling the leaves of nearby trees. "I've been suspended again," Derek said eventually, "for what happened at the park. Principal Wilson said one more incident and I'll be expelled." "I'm sorry," Marcus said, and he meant it. Derek looked surprised. "Why?" "I tried to hurt you." "Because getting expelled would mess up your future," Marcus explained. "And everyone deserves a second chance." Derek stared at his hands. "My dad said if I get expelled, he'll send me to military school. He's not very understanding about failure." Something clicked in Marcus's mind. Derek's behavior, his need to dominate others, his anger. It all made more sense now. "Is that why you bully people?" Marcus asked. "Because you're afraid of failing?" Derek's head snapped up, his eyes flashing with anger. For a moment, Marcus thought he might try to fight again, but then Derek's shoulders slumped. "Maybe," he admitted. "I don't know. I've always been this way. It's all I know how to be." "You could learn to be different," Marcus suggested. "People can change." Derek laughed bitterly. "Right. And then what? Everyone hates me now. You saw how my friends ditched me today. Without being the tough guy, I'm nothing." "That's not true," Marcus said. "You're good at football. Coach Bennett says you could get a scholarship if you keep your grades up." "How do you know that?" "I hear things," Marcus shrugged. "People talk and I listen." Derek was quiet again, thinking, then he asked, "Your uncle's gym, is it any good?" "The best in the city," Marcus said proudly. "Why?" "I was thinking, maybe I could learn. You know, properly, not just street fighting." Marcus studied Derek's face, looking for signs that this was another trick, but he saw only sincerity mixed with embarrassment. "It's not easy," Marcus warned. "Uncle Ray is strict. He makes you earn every skill. And the first lesson is always humility." "I could handle it," Derek said with a hint of his old confidence. "Maybe," Marcus agreed. "But you'd have to leave your attitude at the door. No bullying, no showing off, no disrespect." Derek thought about it, then nodded. "I could try." "Come by tomorrow after school," Marcus said. "I'll introduce you to Uncle Ray." As they stood up to leave, Derek held out his hand. "So, are we good?" Marcus hesitated, then shook Derek's hand. "We'll see." The next day after school, Marcus was surprised when Derek actually showed up at Uncle Ray's gym. He looked nervous as he took in the worn equipment and the fighters training in various parts of the gym. Uncle Ray watched with raised eyebrows as Marcus introduced Derek. "This is the boy who tried to beat you up?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Marcus admitted. "But he wants to learn proper fighting now." Uncle Ray looked Derek up and down. "Fighting isn't just about being strong or tough. It's about discipline, respect, and knowing when not to fight. Are you ready to learn those things?" Derek swallowed hard. "Yes, sir." "We'll see," Uncle Ray said, echoing Marcus's words from yesterday. "First, you need to clean the mats. All of them." Derek looked at the large training mats that covered most of the gym floor. All of them? Every inch, Uncle Ray confirmed. Humility is the first lesson. To Marcus's surprise, Derek didn't argue or leave. He simply nodded and asked where the cleaning supplies were. As Derek started scrubbing the mats, Sophia arrived at the gym with Emma and Jamal. "What is he doing here?" Sophia asked, frowning at Derek. "Learning," Marcus said simply. Over the next few weeks, things changed dramatically. Derek came to the gym every day after school, doing whatever chores Uncle Ray assigned him without complaint. Slowly, he began to learn the basics of fighting: proper stance, basic punches, how to fall without getting hurt. At school, Derek stopped bullying other students. He sat with his football teammates at lunch instead of his old friends. Sometimes he even nodded to Marcus in the hallway. "I still don't trust him," Sophia said one day as they watched Derek clean the equipment at the gym. "You don't have to," Marcus replied. "People change at their own pace." "He bullied you for weeks," Sophia reminded him. "How can you just forgive that?" Marcus thought about it. "I'm not sure I have, completely. But holding on to anger doesn't help anyone. My uncle says that true strength is being able to forgive." A month after the fight at Creek Park, Uncle Ray organized a small exhibition at the gym. Fighters would demonstrate their skills for parents and friends. To everyone's surprise, Derek's father came. Mr. Thompson sat stiffly in the folding chair, watching with a stern expression as Derek demonstrated the basic forms he had learned. Derek's movements were still awkward, nothing like Marcus's smooth precision, but he was trying hard. After the exhibition, Mr. Thompson approached Uncle Ray. "My son seems different," he said. "More focused." "He's learning discipline, Uncle," Ray explained. "And respect." Mr. Thompson nodded slowly. "Perhaps I was wrong about certain things." As summer approached, Marcus found himself with something he had never had before: friends. Real friends who knew who he was and accepted him. Sophia, Jamal, and Emma often came to watch him train at the gym. Sometimes they even joined in the basic classes that Uncle Ray taught. And Derek? He was not exactly a friend, but no longer an enemy. He was a work in progress. "You changed him," Sophia said to Marcus one day as they walked home from school. "You changed everything." Marcus shook his head. "I didn't change anything. People choose to change themselves." "But you showed him another way," Sophia insisted. "You could have hurt him badly that day at the park, but you didn't." "Fighting isn't about hurting people," Marcus said, repeating Uncle Ray's words. "It's about protecting yourself and others. Sometimes the best way to win a fight is to make an enemy into a friend." Sophia smiled and took his hand. "Well, you're definitely winning then." Marcus smiled back, feeling truly happy for the first time in many years. He had started this year as the quiet boy no one noticed, the boy who just wanted to be left alone. Now he was still quiet. That would never change, but he was no longer alone, and that, he decided, was the greatest victory of all.